I thought I had the perfect marriage. Zayn was the love of my life, my high school sweetheart. We built a beautiful life together. 2 kids, a cozy home, the whole 9 yards. He was a successful architect, and I was a freelance graphic designer working from home. It seemed like a fairy tale. But fairy tales, I've learned, are just stories. And my story was about to take a very dark turn. It started subtly. Late nights at the office became more frequent. Business trips popped up out of nowhere. He'd come home smelling of a perfume that wasn't mine, and I'd ask about it. "Oh, that's just Sarah from accounting. She gives everyone a hug goodbye," he'd say with a dismissive wave. He became more protective of his phone, always keeping it face down, angling it away from me when he texted. Little things, you know? The kinds of things you try to ignore because the alternative is too painful to consider. My friends told me I was being paranoid. "He's just stressed from work, Lyra," they'd say. Men get distant sometimes. I wanted to believe them, I really did. But my gut, that primal instinct every woman has, was screaming at me. It was a constant low-level hum of anxiety that never quite went away. I started to feel like a ghost in my own home, watching my life from the outside. Zayn would look at me, but he wouldn't really see me. He was there, but he was gone. The turning point came on our anniversary, our 15th. I had planned a special dinner, cooked his favorite meal, and even bought a new dress. I was trying desperately to reignite the spark that had been missing for so long. He called me an hour before he was supposed to be home. "Honey, I'm so sorry," he said, his voice rushed. "A major client crisis. I have to stay late. I promise I'll make it up to you." My heart sank. I could hear faint music and laughter in the background, not the sounds of a frantic office. That night, I didn't sleep. The lie was so blatant, so disrespectful. I sat in our dark living room, the uneaten dinner getting cold on the table, and I made a decision. I was done being the clueless, trusting wife. If he was going to lie, I was going to find the truth. The next morning, I was a woman on a mission. While he was in the shower, I checked his car's GPS history. It was a long shot, but I was desperate. And there he was. A residential address visited multiple times a week, always in the late afternoon. An address I didn't recognize. I drove there that day, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. It was a chic apartment building in a part of town we never went to. I parked across the street and just waited. I felt like a private detective in a cheap movie. After about an hour, I saw his car pull into the visitors' parking. My breath caught in my throat. A few minutes later, he walked out of the building, his arm wrapped around a woman. She was young, blonde, and laughing at something he said. They looked so happy, so carefree. It was like a physical blow, knocking all the air out of my lungs. I didn't confront him. Not yet. What would have been the point? He'd just lie more. Instead, I went home and I started planning. My grief turned into a cold, hard anger. He thought I was clueless. He thought I was a fool. Fine. I would let him keep thinking that. For now, I started digging. I hired a private investigator with the money from my personal savings. I needed evidence, something undeniable. I also contacted a lawyer quietly just to understand my options. The investigator was good. Within a week, I had a folder full of pictures. Zayn and Chloe, as I learned she was called, having romantic dinners, holding hands in the park, kissing outside her apartment. The PI also uncovered something else. Chloe wasn't just some random affair. She was the daughter of Marcus Thorne, one of the biggest real estate developers in the city. The same Marcus Thorne whose massive waterfront project Zayn had been supposedly slaving over for the past 6 months. It all clicked into place. This wasn't just about cheating. It was about his career. He was using this affair to get ahead. The realization made me sick. Our family, our life together, was just collateral damage in his quest for success. The hurt was immense, but my resolve was stronger. I continued playing the part of the devoted wife. I'd ask about his day, and he spun elaborate tales about his work on the Thorn project. Not knowing that I knew exactly who he was really spending his time with, he'd look me in the eye and lie. It was chilling. The day of the big project presentation arrived. It was the culmination of Zane's work, a massive deal that would make or break his firm. He was a nervous wreck, but also incredibly arrogant. He was so sure of himself, so confident that he had it all under control. The project, the affair, his clueless wife at home. He kissed me goodbye that morning, a quick peck on the cheek. "Wish me luck, honey," he said. "This is the biggest day of my career." Oh, he had no idea. I let him go. An hour later, I sent an email. It was addressed to Marcus Thorne. The subject line was simple, regarding the waterfront project and your daughter. In the email, I attached the entire file from the private investigator. The photos, the timelines, the proof of their affair. I wrote a short, simple message. "Mr. Thorne, I thought you should be aware of the kind of man you are about to go into business with. This is how he treats his family. Sincerely, Lyra, Zane's wife." Then I hit send. I can only imagine the chaos that erupted in that boardroom. I later heard from a friend whose cousin works at Zane's firm. The presentation was abruptly halted. Marcus Thorne, a man known for his integrity and focus on family values, apparently went pale, said a few quiet words to Zane, and walked out, pulling the deal with him. Zane was fired on the spot. His career, the one he had sacrificed his family for, was destroyed in an instant. He came home that evening a broken man. He didn't even try to lie. The look on his face was a mixture of shock, rage, and utter defeat. He just stared at me and said, "It was you." I didn't scream, I didn't cry. I just looked at him calmly and replied, "You thought I was clueless, Zane. You were wrong." He tried to apologize, to make excuses, but the words were empty. The trust was gone, shattered into a million pieces. I filed for divorce the next day. It wasn't easy, especially with the kids, but they deserved a mother who was happy and a home that wasn't built on lies. Zane lost everything, his job, his reputation, his family. Chloe, not surprisingly, wanted nothing to do with him once he was no longer a promising architect with a major deal. Karma, it turns out, has a funny way of settling scores. It took time to heal, but I rebuilt my life, piece by piece. My design business took off, and I found a strength in myself I never knew I had. Sometimes, people underestimate the quiet ones. They mistake kindness for a weakness and trust for naivety. But a woman who has been pushed too far is a force to be reckoned with. Zane thought he was playing a game he couldn't lose, but he forgot the most important rule. Never, ever underestimate the person you promise to spend your life with. Thanks for listening to my story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.